This is a map that I made to understand various components of Ethiopian society and many other things. So it has several components for the time being. I called it the Amhara update. It's because something is going on in Amhara region. Along the way, I have decided to look at different aspects of, the physical geography of history, society, community, conflicts, and things like that. Now, it has several components. It has something I call Addis Ababa and Shaggar. For example, if you click here, you see Addis Ababa and Shaggar. And inside here, when you zoom, you see lots of things, Each of these markers have meanings. For example, this marker consists of maybe regarding different towns surrounding Addis Ababa and new neighborhoods around Addis Ababa, and also the border between Addis Ababa and Oromia and the outskirts of Addis Ababa. Okay, so there are many things in it. You can click on any of these places and find out what it means. For example, this line, the Lagatafo line, that's the Lagatafo line, and you can always come back. And this is the Addis Ababa, Oromia, I call it the bottleneck border. This is the Galan sector. This is the Lagadadi sector, etc., etc. So you can attach any meaning you wish about this. Well, this is about Addis Ababa. And then there is another link called churches and mosques. So we have to zoom out to see the churches and mosque. Okay. Basically, there are three major indicators, places labeled P, and this place marker in this color, and across is another marker, and something so I didn't understand, I put a question mark. So P stands for Protestant, but not necessarily Protestant, but churches that are not Orthodox churches, including P includes also the Catholic Church, Apostolic Church, any type of evangelical church. So the this color, this eye drop color, I think it looks like Hamalmal no Masalim Ibalo Bamarinya. These are the masjids or mosques. So it shows the location, specific locations of these churches. So I also have some specific lines. These are like when I see something I like rivers and things like that, I put them in. They're just very nice to decorate. Okay. So how do you use this map? You can use it for various things. For example, if you travel and you want to find out there is a church in the area that you are traveling, you just click on the church on the location you want. If you want to go to a Protestant church, you can just click in one of these and find out. If you want to go to a mosque, that's what you will do. Considering the situation in Ethiopia, there are many conflicts in Ethiopia, and there is information about some churches being damaged, some mosques being damaged, and it is good to know where the locations are and look for eyewitnesses if this is really the case. Sometimes politics is such that images are used to make more politics than to solve problems, okay? So you'll be knowledgeable. So you can zoom to any church you want. For example, Harina Johannes, well done, a good God. We can go there. That's right there. That's the place. This is probably in Tigray, right? So that's where it is. Another application of we have to zoom out. Another application of this is you can understand the distribution of faith, religion in Ethiopia. For example, this map is only current as much as Google Map is current. Okay, there may be uh, lots more mosques and churches and things like that in areas where they are not indicated. Maybe people who are supposed to make these maps didn't have time to locate them and inform Google. Okay, those of you who have hobbies of looking at maps, should contact Google and add the locations of the churches and the mosques in places like this. For example, where are the mosques here? And also, you can see the distribution of religion by region. For example, let's go here. If we zoom, you can see this is the Tigray region. This is the Tigray region. This is Amhara region. This is Amhara region. And as you can see, I have not located churches or mosques in this area much. The reason can be that Google is not informed about it. Okay, look, again, here in the western part of the country, there are not that many churches and mosques and so on. Here in the southern regions, there are less Orthodox churches in some areas. The Protestant church, non-Orthodox churches appear to be dominant. In Oromia region, we are here somewhere in Oromia region, you can see a good number of Orthodox churches and lots of, in Addis, for example, this is Addis Ababa, there is a lot of, mosques, Orthodox church, Protestant church, and so on. I believe this is Addis Ababa. And then when you go to the urban areas, you can see a lot more of a concentration of mosques, for example, Adama is here, and so on and so forth. So you can see distribution of religion according to the regions of Ethiopia. If you go to the east and southeastern Ethiopia, Islam appears to be a more dominant religion than Christianity, based on this map. On the other hand, 2 years from now, a year from now, in fact, a day from now, someone will put the churches and the mosques here in this region. Okay, so this is about religion, and then you can actually play with flicking the map. For example, let's see Gondar. In Gondar, these are place markers that I pulled out from various sources because this is a conflict area, and some of the some of these markers have something to do with conflict. Okay, so I heard their names from various sources. I also try to put, this is one river here, and then another river. This river is the Takeze River. I think that this river is the one that borders Ethiopia. I think probably Satit or the Gash River. And then this becomes Satit, I believe, and comes out of Ethiopia. And it is very helpful. For example, this space, which we call Walqait Tagade, is here. It is surrounded by two rivers and many other things. So, for example, I can say, I can look at these dots. Probably I can draw a little box here and call it Gondar, and then see, the density of churches and mosques here. For example, I can add here, as you can see clearly, you have in Gondar area, there are mosques, there are churches here. Gondar has a lot of churches. And as you can see, there are some areas where you expect many churches or mosques. They're not there. This is very interesting. Now, if I flick back, I remove Gondar and put Gojam in. This is Gojam right here. I call it the general Gojam. And then I put churches here. As you can see, Gojam has a lot of churches, a few mosques, probably in Bardar area, and so on. Lots of them. So it can help you, Orthodox Christianity is the most dominant. In fact, it appears to me from this physical geography that Gojam has a lot more churches than Gondar itself. Okay. Now, if I go to Shawa, Shawa is right here. This is the general area of Shawa. Again, these places are conflict spaces. There are, reports of some conflict here. So if I put the churches in the mosques here, in Shawa, there is some sort of uneven distribution of churches, lots of churches here. By the way, in generalized Shawa, we can actually add this region, but it's okay for now, these areas. But there are even distribution of churches, and there are quite a few mosques. By the way, mosques are usually around cities, around towns. They are not deep in the country. For example, most of the Orthodox, lots of them, I can't say most, are deep in the country, in near mountains, near forests, and things like that. So Shoa is like this. Now, I can actually choose Wallo. Wallo is right here. Wallo and Afar are right here. I put Afar there just for reference. Then if I go click here, as you can see, the Wallo will follow this reddish place markers and look at the yellow place markers. Lots of mosques in Wallo, actually. And then the church distribution is even. But very interestingly, I probably found only one or two Protestant P markers. Right here, Afar has few mosques, and also as Google improves its presence, a lot more will appear, and a lot of more mosques will appear. By the way, society has to be concerned about this. Why is that? There are not that many mosques here. As we know, the population of Afar mostly believe in Islam. So they should have more mosques. You see, the more religious and faith space, the more peaceful a country is. If you go to the southeast, this is very interesting. Watch very carefully here. This stretches from from basically this area, Maki maybe area, all the way along this line, all the way to go to Durreda or Harar and so on. You have mosques along that line. The reason why this is the case, is because from what I see, mostly these are towns along a common road or highway. So these are all towns, if you think about it. These are good-sized towns. Okay, now when you go to the south, as you can see, you see a lot of non-Orthodox churches. This is great. The more people have churches, the better. And also, Orthodox Christianity has some sizable presence, but a lot more churches, a lot more mosques might be necessary to make sure that people have access to the faith they want. Okay, next. So with this in mind, I'm going to turn off Wallo. Okay, Wallo is turned off. There are other things. For example, let us look at the school map. This is Ethiopian school map. So the blue stars indicate that these schools are functional schools. There are also schools that are marked as yellow stars, and also by mistake, I didn't take into account when I was making these place markers the state of the schools. Google Map actually tells you if this any institution that they have a place mark for is functional or not. So the yellow stars indicate that schools that are temporarily closed. There are a lot more schools that are temporarily closed, particularly in Gondar. At this time, in Gondar, there are lots of schools. Probably no school is open in Gondar, Gojam, and Shawa, and Wallo at this time. So at this time, a lot of schools are, a lot of children are out of their playground. Everyone should be concerned about this. We want the students back, the children back to their school. Okay. And okay, I will turn off the school and bring back the schools again. Okay. What I noticed in this school distribution, sadly, the school distribution in Ethiopia is not even. Actually, there are places in Ethiopia where schools are rare. For example, look at Afar region. Most Afar region is devoid of schools. There are a few schools and the university. This can be explained by saying, for example, our people are nomads, and it's difficult to have schools that are mostly open when people move to other places for water, for grazing and things like that. You might say that, but our policy should be, the government policy should be, is that educate people to settle at one location. That is easier for service and health. So urbanization is important. So this is devoid of school. When you come here, this is part of Gojam, Benshangul region. There are a few schools here. This is a huge land. If you come to Wolkait area, Wolkait area is a very big region. There are not that many schools there. If you go to a good section of Gondar, you see, Gondar, there are no schools here. Another hole here. There are not that many schools there. You can actually zoom and see what the areas we're talking about. Look, there are not that many schools. This is devoid of schools. If you come to the other regions, for example, this is the southeastern part of the country, there are no schools. There are not that many schools. There are schools, there are not that many schools. Here, this region, see also the Gambella region and so on. There are no schools. By the way, the red stars are colleges and universities in Ethiopia. So there are no schools. People have to ask, why is that there are no schools? In other words, for example, a kid growing in this area has to travel miles to access schools. Why is that there are no schools? To make politics out of this, it appears that there are also the similar situation in Tigray region. There are similar situation in Tigray region. Look, there are places where there are no schools. Why? Why? And also, in order to understand the politics scientifically, you can always ask this question whether, ethnic administration is fair to people. It is unfair to all people, including those who suspect that they are beneficiaries. For example, Tigray region doesn't have that many schools. It appears that it has a lot more, but if you zoom, look, imagine kids growing up here. Where do they go to school? Where do they go to school? So I believe that this distribution of schools is unfair. If you go to the south, it is the same. Look at this. I have not detected the schools here. I zoomed, looked, and zoomed, looked. By the way, this is not done scientifically. This is done manually. Look, empty. Oromia region, empty. No schools. Therefore, instead of people wasting to go to war and buy sophisticated equipment to destroy people's lives, people have to think about the benefit that they have. They are being offered by the politicians and the politics of the day. Okay, the schools are like this, and also the presence of Ethiopians everywhere. For example, if you want to find Ethiopians around the world, there are two things you have to look for. The first one is the church, particularly the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. I believe Ethiopian Muslims don't go out and build mosques in the United States or something like that. The reason is Islam is the most universal religion. You can identify with any person following the religion by going to any mosque you want. The mosque is built for them already. In case of Ethiopian Christians, if you know the story, we have to rent spaces because the way we worship is different from the other Christians. We have the drum, we have the we have different types of crosses. There is a ritual for everything, okay? And also we have many tabots, okay? It is the same thing for the Protestant followers of Ethiopia. They have to really rent spaces to have their worship on their own. I know about this. I have not seen Ethiopian Protestant churches, owned by Ethiopians so far in the United States. But if you go to church, not to churches and mosques, but if you want to go to worldwide Ethiopian churches or are like this. So this just shows a few Ethiopian churches. It doesn't include, they are here actually. You know, if I click here, they are all in Ethiopia, those they are there. But if you zoom in, no, I mean zoom out, this is where you find Ethiopians. So we have all these people. Actually, this is I would call it the bird's eye view. I have not investigated the European churches that much, but I have to go and find out if there are churches. Basically, if you want to find Ethiopians and where they are and things like that, there are two things you look for. I forgot to mention the second one. The first one is look for Ethiopian churches, okay? And also, to some extent, Ethiopian and Eritrean Orthodox churches, they are kind of similar. So you look for those, you find Ethiopians there. Or another thing you can do also is to find Ethiopians anywhere in the world. It is look for Ethiopian restaurant. When Ethiopian restaurant is established, it's just its first beginning is to serve the Ethiopian community in a given city. But now Ethiopian food is one of the most prevalent ethnic restaurant in the world at this time. So you look for the churches around the world. You just search them. So they are here. Ethiopians are here. This map for Ethiopians around the world, or Ethiopian churches around the world, is incomplete because I have not investigated the most of the cities in the United States and Europe. We have a few in one or two or three in Korea, one or two or three in South Africa. Actually, they have a big church there recently opened. And also, I believe there is one here in Korea. Maybe there may be few in Japan and so on, but we have to build this map. In here, the and worldwide Ethiopian churches, we have identified 570 locations. Now, including some in Ethiopia. But if I add this church, see the churches that I identified in Ethiopia, there will be a lot more. And also, I admit that there are repetitions. There are repetitions. Okay. And then, of course, Ethiopians live everywhere. We have to put very soon the Middle East population of Ethiopia. For now, I have put the Beta Israel presence in Israel, but we are going to put also the population in the Arabian Peninsula, in general, the Middle East, including, of course, North Africa. There are several Ethiopians who work as maids and low-paying jobs in the countries of the Middle East. So that's what we do. And also, these are maps inside one map. A further improvement would be not just follow Gondar, Gojam, Shawa, and Wallo. Probably we have to follow what goes on everywhere in the country, and then we are going to put, additional information about a lot of social issues, social problem issues, conflict issues, and so on in various places in Ethiopia. So the benefit of studying maps like this in the era of Sabbar Zena is that, for example, in Sabbar Zena, somebody might say, yeah, in this particular location, let's say this place is Balasa, Arbaya Balasa, in the one of those loud places, they might say, okay, this thing is destroyed, this thing is done, a church is burned, and things like that. In fact, eventually, Ethiopians will come to terms with themselves. Eventually, there will be peace, but peace has to be lasting peace, not peace that is, worked out by smart aleck politicians. Peace has to be forever, okay? There is no, peace has to be forever. Therefore, what we have to do is we have to know exactly what happened to this place, exactly who did what, document everything, legal documentation, not just these short videos that are probably taken somewhere in Africa and then posted there as if something has happened. This is what they do. Spammers do. Therefore, there are eyewitnesses. There are people, and then this map can be used as a preliminary investigation of the situation. So we listen to what's being said, but we document what is being said. In this particular place, for example, we can say, okay, I have read this in this news outlet or in this Sabar and then we link any material to this. It is very easy to link. We can find the YouTube videos or something like that as a preliminary investigation point, not as a final information. The big problem in Ethiopia at this time is there are too many sources of fake news, okay? So in general, people like hyped information. They have their own echo chambers where one idea is promoted. That echo chamber might say this group is very bad, therefore bring any information that makes that group bad. It's that way you make the politics and also contribute to furthering the violence. We need to really make sure that we avoid conflicts based on false narrative, okay? There are tangible information, particularly the war against with TPLF, okay? We have a United Nations documentation about the atrocities in Maikadra, in China, in Agamsa, and many other places. In fact, we have a map that shows the 30-year atrocities of TPLF against the Ethiopian people. And we are going to use maps and documentation like that to challenge the criminals in a future court. So maps can be used in many, many, many ways. One of them is to see clearly what goes on, say, in religion in Ethiopia, okay? And also we can put here economic map as we put schools and universities and colleges and try to understand the distribution. We can also put all the industries, locate all the industries in Ethiopia, and then where money is made, where people are lacking what, okay? Of course, there may be a lot more industries near urban areas, that's fine. But how about other industries, these big farming industries? Where are they? There is always, because we live in ethnically biased, sometimes a society that can be characterized by awful things such as corruption, ethnic cleansing, war, etc. The government or the decision makers in general cannot be trusted because they can be biased towards one side, okay? Because they, the politicians were very good in putting words in our mouths, like ተረኝነት, 100 years ago, it was Amhara. 50 years ago, it was TPL. 30 years ago, it was TPLF. Today, it is Oromuma. Okay, they gave us all these words, right? And they have shown us practical demonstration of ethnic cleansing in many areas. Church burning and dislocation of people, and also they have shown us what goes on in the politics of Addis Ababa itself. I personally believe that Addis Ababa should be treated as a region, as an independent region, like any of the other regions. There are the Addis Ababa metropolitan area is probably 10 million people. So we need, I'm sorry about the dog. We need data to back it up, not just someone said it in a video. We have to go in a specific place. For example, we can zoom in. Are there industries here? So we put the various industrial parks and things like that on the map, and then say, oh, this is fair, this is unfair. You understand? The map tells you whether it is fair or it is unfair. Of course, that also need to be a little more qualification. For example, there is a cotton processing in one area, right? But you don't expect a cotton processing in another area, because it doesn't work that way. There is a place where they process sugar, and there is a place where they don't process sugar, and so on. So, for example, Ogaden region, or Somali and Afar region, what industries do they have? For example, Afar has salt industry. How do they process the salt? Are they still digging by hand? Do they have any large-scale manufacturing? You need to ask those questions. This area is known to be rich with oil or natural gas. Where is it? Where is that industry? Is it active? Or is it just a conversation? So you need to ask these questions. If you ask this question, just based on this ethnic group is in power, therefore my ethnic group is unfairly treated, does not work that way. You have to back it up. You have to back it up. The same thing with the job opportunities. Are there a lot more job opportunities in one region versus another region? Okay. Yeah. The last 30 years, we know for sure that the Amhara region is pushed behind, specifically Shoa, we know this. So how are the situation with the schools? For example, in Amhara region, there are about 1,000 schools that the school is just under a shade of a tree or straw houses. Okay? So what happened to those schools? So look, simply complaining based on based on the suspicions that an agency, be it of government, be it of non-profit, is discriminating against a given group, back it up with data. Okay, back it up with data. So physical geography can help you understand, how, the situation, for a given community. My next step in building this map is basically to put on a map every named place. I just almost completed the Tigray region, and then I'm now moving to the other regions. All these places will be place marked, and the names have to be saved. Okay, the names have to be saved. Government should be very strict about name changes. So don't rename. These are original places. These are place markers for history. So do not change the names of places. Really, the names of the places tell a lot of stories. For example, in I'll bring it up in the Tigray region here, and zooming and putting these houses. I found something very interesting. Names that, by their physical aspect, they sound like Oromo. For example, Abba Gubba, Abba Gubba, Gubba Tarara, no? Abba, Te Tarara Abba. There is Abba Gubba in Tigray. And then one curious name that I found is Addi Momena. Addi Momena, Miye Momina ነው እምዬ ሞሚና የፈረቀ ሰው እመቤት የምትባለው የፈረቀ ሰው እመቤት ናት መሰለኝ እምዬ ሞሚና. And then how did Addi Momina make it here? Whether this correlation of names are, people interacting, and then that name is carried to Tigray from Oromia, or the Oromos were here, etc. Now, since we are in a big phenomena of this is mine, this is mine, this is my Kenya, and things like that. And that is curious, okay? That's very curious to ask. People claim certain spaces are theirs because the name is, of Amhara origin, or Tigray origin, Somali origin, or Oromo origin, etc., etc. You see, so and for people who study places, the names of the places, the languages that describe the name of the places, has a lot of implication in terms of how people interacted with each other over thousands of years, and also how they relate to history themselves. For example, in Egyptian literature, which I probably presented in a different video, that you can find these places like Ibnat, Agame, Amhara, Zayla, all these places inside Egyptian literature. In fact, the names should be left the way they are until until such time that linguists have studied this name and correlated these names with the Egyptian literature, Egyptian hieroglyphics literature. You should be very amazed about the Egyptian hieroglyphics literature. There are several words that in Ge'ez that are in Egyptian literature, in Amharic, that are in Egyptian literature. I think the people who are very sensitive about Kush versus Semites and Kushites, they are studying them. There is, in fact, a group of people who are studying, the language of an Oromo to bear, very similarities with Egyptian literature itself, language correlations and things like that. It would be a very good endeavor to know these language correlations and similarities. But I have to mention to you with almost 100% certainty that all Ethiopians are Kushites, okay? There are no Semite Ethiopians. There are Semitic languages, but Kush people speaking Semitic language. We have no relation with with this issue. language classifications, uh, Ethiopian languages are mostly Afro-Asiatic languages. And also, of course, there are some Nilotic type languages and things like that. All these languages, most languages are Afro-Asiatic. And people make this big mistake. For example, Middle East is defined as North Africa plus the Arabian Peninsula, right? That's Middle East. But the North Africa is in Africa. Why is it in the Middle East? People have done this. The social scientists, the economists, and things like that have done this, classified these places of because of their general similarity. They speak Arabic, mostly their religion Islam. They have been communicating for many hundred years. They have similar character. They have like a political bloc. But it doesn't mean that North Africa is really Arab. It doesn't mean that. Yeah, it's influenced by Arab, but it's not. It's Africa. Okay. In the same way, when people study languages, they classify languages, Semitic languages and Cushitic languages. This is classification. It's not about splitting people who speak Kush language from Semitic language. It's not. That's not the purpose of it. So our foolish people and smart aleck politicians are basically collaborating to divide people and pit against each other, make them fight against each other. There's no such thing as Semitic Ethiopian. No, we are all Cushitic Ethiopian. And also, those of you who study religion and those of you who study religion and society, how the ethnic groups came about, read the Bible and you'll find out who gave birth to what. It is written already. You can read, for example, there is a book translated by one of those translators, Budge. It's called the Book of the Mysteries of Heaven and Earth. In that book, it is translated from Ge'ez. You can find out the ethnic groups are named there, from biblical times, they are named. I'm not sure if there is Amhara or Tigray or something. Probably there is. But the general, the language they speak and all that stuff is written. So you start from there, from the beginning. There may not be archaeological evidence, but that is where we begin. Okay, so don't fight in this unending go into this unending conflict where you have no ability to justify. And most of the people who are fighting over these things are ignorant, 100% ignorant. Even the people who are writing about this as some sort of scientific research, I call it junk, they are ignorant. Okay? They are ignorant for two reasons. Number one, it's not what they are saying. Okay? It can be proved. Number two, the purpose of education, the purpose of science is not to divide people, it's to bring people together for the common good. You understand? For the common good. So education is for the common good. And, if we don't think about the common good, we end up destroying ourselves. We end up destroying the whole world. You see, we have to look for the common good. So this is the map, and we will soon have a comprehensive map regarding the history, economics, geography, social life of Ethiopians. One map is not enough. As you can see, this map is a very complex map. So we will separate them. As you can see, I have identified holes where there are not that many schools. We will ask why. And then we will name the places where there are no schools. And then people can use this map to demand access to school. There are places where there are not that many churches, mosques, and why? There should be more churches and mosques and things like that, so that people have spiritual needs and they can get served. Okay? So we have to put this important information to good use. Okay? Recently, there are lots of conversations about going to war with Eritrea. I personally don't believe it is necessary. War is not necessary, but one thing that Ethiopians should aspire to do is to collaborate with neighbors. As you can see, it's so close. This is what? This city is, what is that city? Let's see. This is Alitana. So the distance between Alitana and the coastline, the little strip, the Gulf, we call it the Gulf, is very short. And very short from Alitana to this point, for example, you see. It's a very small one. So Eritrea and Ethiopia can agree simply on the use of, this area to bring the ships. But of course, maybe it is not convenient. Another way to think about it is, well, we need a second canal here. Dig this. Yeah. Maybe it is impossible. Yeah, right there. This a very small distance. Asab is here, I think. Asab Masawa, no. Marsataklai. Yeah, Asab is very, very tall place. Skin. Oh, we went to Port Sudan. Unbelievable. Then where is Asab? And this is the Afar region. Yeah, this is Eritrea. So, and also Eritrea and Ethiopia share common people like the Afar. And Afar, on both sides, they have to benefit. So we need to think about that. Okay, I see. Masawa is here. Oh, Masawa is here. Oh, Masawa is here. Masawa. So we don't need. We will come back to this historical spaces in some amateur way. There are very, very good geographers, physical geographers we can invite. Oh, Asab is here. Sorry, Asab is here. Why do I think that over there? Asab is here. Asab is right here. Yeah. From Asab. I would love Asab, excuse me, to be something Ethiopia and Eritrea should agree on. No war, please. We don't want war. No, we don't want war. There are legal ways to get what you want internationally. You don't need to go to war. Okay, Asaf is right here. I apologize. I was looking for Asaf way over here. That's a way here. No. Aliana is very close to Musawa. That place where I showed you. Asaf is also near basically Samara, right there. We can measure the distance easily. So this is what I have. This is how you use your map. Use the map uh, for the common good. Okay. Thank you. All right. Have a great day.